Okay, so we're on the Explore Foods website, which is on Food Effective Life if you want to look it up. And the first thing we do is just click on this go button to calculate a recipe. You're calculating the recipe for the healthier pizza that I asked you to design just now on Go for Schools. So type in healthier pizza and start. So it's a healthier pizza, healthier than the original cheese and tomato one that you made. So you could use wholemeal flour, you could put more fruits and vegetables on there, you could reduce the amount of salt or fats that you use in it. You could add some meat for protein. All right, so you should have come up with your design already. Now we're going to model it. Now you simply type into the ingredients boxes on the left hand side what you're looking for. I want strong flour, so I typed in strong and it comes up with strong wheat, bread strong white, or flour wheat wholemeal bread strong. I'm going to use half white and half wholemeal, so 125 grams of each. So I'm typing strong again, and I'm going to select wholemeal, so 125 of that. Click on the box there for the next ingredient. Next ingredient we want is yeast. Yeast is what makes the bread rise a little bit. It'd be a little bit like a brick if you didn't use any. So yeast dried, 1 sachet is 7 grams. Next ingredient then is salt. We know that salt is high in sodium, and we know that we shouldn't really have too much of it. I asked you in the original recipe to use about half a teaspoon, which would be about 2 grams, something like that. So I'm just going to scroll down and find it. There we go, salt. And so I'm going to use 1/4 of a teaspoon, which is just about 1 gram. All right. Next thing you're going to add then is your cheese. I'm going to use mozzarella cheese for mine because I know that it's lower in fat than a cheddar cheese. If I just type in cheese, nothing comes up. So I've typed in MOZ for mozzarella and it's come up with the mozzarella cheese there. And we used 75 grams last time. We're not going to use any more than that. I'm just going to show you what happens if I put cheddar cheese in. So if I select cheddar, English, there we go, 75 grams, the same amount, click off of it. If we have a look at the difference in the fat content over in this column here, there's 15 grams of fat in 75 grams of mozzarella and there's 26 grams in the cheddar. If we want to see how much salt's in the two, we can click on minerals, find sodium, and scroll down until we find the cheeses. And I can see that there's quite a bit more salt in cheddar cheese than there is in mozzarella as well, 296 as opposed to 542, so much better. So I'm going to go back onto energy and macronutrients and carry on selecting my ingredients. The next thing that I'm going to add is the fat that goes in with the base. Now you could choose to leave that out. We used oil or margarine in the original recipe. I tend to use olive oil. Let's type in olive and we can just search for that, olive oil, there we go. The original recipe used 15 mils, so I'm going to say that I'm going to halve that down to 7. It would be 7.5 obviously, but I can't put half a gram in. And then we're going to add the tomato. If I put tomato in, it doesn't seem to have passata in there, it struggles a bit with that, so I'm just going to type in tomato. And for some reason I've lost my broadband. Let's see if that will just come back a minute. Oh, I think it's connected again now. We're back. Right, if I type in tomato and have a look through here, we go down to T for tomato. We've got tomato juice, tomato puree, whole canned tomatoes, sun-dried tomatoes. I'm just going to select tomatoes canned, whole contents. I think that's most similar to passata. And I used about 3 tablespoons on mine. It's 15 mils in a tablespoon, so 3 of those is 45 grams. Then you'd add on any vegetables or meats or so on that you decided to add. So next thing you're going to do is to get the sheet that I put on Show My Homework, and you're going to work through the questions. The first questions you don't need to find your findings. That's just how well does your pizza design fit the Eat Well Guide recommendations, and how could you make it fit them more closely. From question 3 you'll need to use the information on the sheet. So the first one, how much fat is in your pizza per portion? The way that you find that out is you go into View Summary, and our pizza is going to go into 4 portions, so we put a 4 in that box and calculate. And then we're going to find the per portion column here, scroll down till we find fat. There's 13.2. Now I've just remembered that I've left both types of cheese in there, and that's why it would be that high. So I'm going to take the cheddar cheese out. There we go. Go back into View Summary. I have to change that back to 4 again and calculate. Let's scroll down and find the fat again. Here we go. So 6.7, our target was less than 10, so that's really good. So I would write 6.7 in for question 3. What percent of your daily amount is this? So the way you find that out is to go into compare with DRVs, the little green box bottom right corner, put your age and select your gender and click on calculate. Now, because we're working out the fats, we're looking in this column here, and I can see it provides 8% of my daily amount of fat, okay? DRV stands for dietary reference value, so it sort of, says what for the average person, should we say, so 8% of the daily amount. Next one then is there more than 10 grams of fat per portion, because that was our target? The answer is no, 6 point something, so we would say no. Which foods in your pizza are the highest in fat? Let's have a look how we work that out. So we're going to go back into View Summary, Edit Recipe, and we can have a look in this fat column here, and it'll tell me the fat content of all of my ingredients. So 1.5 for the flour, 2.75 for the brown flour, 0.1 for the yeast, none for the salt, and then we've got 15.23 for the cheese, and 6.99 for the olive oil. So those would be the 2 ingredients that are the highest in fat. Then you're going to make some suggestions as to how you could reduce the fat further. So you could use even less olive oil in the base, you could use less fat again, you could get a light mozzarella, you could try that. And the questions repeat themselves, but based on the saturated fat, the fibre and the salt. And then there's some challenge questions on the bottom for you to have a go at. So to find the saturated fat, that's in the column right next to the fat. To find the fibre, we scroll right, and the fibre's in this column next to protein. And you have to click on the minerals. So we've got 3 columns. We've got energy and macronutrients, vitamins, and then we've got minerals. And our minerals is where you'll find the sodium or the salt, and they'll be in this column just here. Okay, any problems, send me an email, nicola.finch@chipandstrawberryschool.com.